our next speaker tonight, when I first saw him, I left motivated, but it wasn't even a motivational topic. It was a marketing topic. And what I loved about him is he was one of the most sincere, authentic, transparent people that I had ever met. And he's been motivating business audiences all over the world ever since, and I'm so excited. He was literally in the country long enough to get him here tonight. Here's a little more about our next speaker. Please give it up for Patrick Schwerdtfeger! I'm not going to cut the panel, but I'll probably cut it. Thank you. Happy New Year, everybody. How many of you guys are just fired up and excited about 2014? Well, let's turn back a little bit and look in the other direction. How many of you guys are just fired up and excited about the amount of money you made last year, 2013? All right, not bad. But it's a little bit of a different response, right? It's a little bit, and it turns out this is actually a fairly typical human response, because as human beings, we are instinctively optimistic creatures. We tend to believe in a better tomorrow, even if yesterday maybe wasn't quite as good as we had hoped. And being self-employed is difficult, right? And that's one of the things that I wanted to talk. Actually, how many people here are 100% responsible for generating their own income? Wow. Take a look around, guys. Seriously, this is awesome. Me too, by the way. We eat what we kill, right? Isn't that what they say? It's my kind of audience. Because I've been self-employed since 2002. And it's been a struggle. Honestly, it's been not easy for me. Maybe it hasn't been easy for you either. So I'm going to do something tonight which is a bunch of my friends tell me that this is a really bad idea. And it's something I've never done before, but Brian told me a lot about what this evening was all about, and so I thought maybe this was an opportunity to share some of that stuff. And I'm going to do it anyway, against the better judgment of some of my friends, because I think that maybe some of you might be, truthfully, I'm hoping that many of you will be able to relate to it yourselves. So, are you ready? I don't know if I heard that. Are you guys ready? Yeah. All right. So here are my monthly credit card balances for the last 7 years. Who else would share this kind of information? Nobody. All right, are you with me? We will do this together. So this chart tells a story. It tells a story of my self-employment for the past 7 years. I focused on becoming a professional speaker in 2007, so that was 7 years ago. And this is broken down by month, so 84 months is 7 years. So let's just go through this. So right here at the beginning, I mean, this was a pretty exciting time. I mean, this was, you know, my credit card balances were going up, okay? So the higher the thing is, it means my credit, I owed more, my debt was rising, okay? But this was pretty exciting for me because I was chasing my dream, right? So I was okay with the balances going up because it was my dream. But maybe about a year in, it started getting a little bit scary. because I'd never had credit card balances that high before. But then after that, I had a short period that I now realize was beginner's luck. So, you know, I mean, I thought I was turning the corner. I was like, I'm going to be rich by summer. I mean, haven't you felt that way at one time or another? I've felt that way, like, I mean, I couldn't even tell you how many times I've felt that way. But anyway, I paid my debts down a little bit. But then things started to get difficult. And they got difficult because, see, I was making progress, right? But people didn't see the progress I was making, like my friends, right? And because there were milestones throughout this process. Like, I was making progress, and I knew the steps I was taking, but my friends, they didn't see. All they knew is I was financially struggling before, and I was still financially struggling, right? And they would ask this viciously cruel question to me when I'd go to like parties or whatever. They would say, get this, can you believe, they would say, how are you doing? Oh, I hated that question because I was struggling, right? It wasn't working, okay? So that was actually a period of social isolation for me. And there's actually some really fascinating research about the science of happiness. It's really fascinating research, something I'm very passionate about actually, because I went through this process, by the way. But anyway, they say that human relationships and connection is super important. It's like one of the 4 primary things that people need to be happy. But meanwhile, as human beings, we have an instinct that when things are not going well, we instinctively retract, right? And we kind of crawl back into our cave. And we isolate ourselves. And it's precisely the worst thing to do. Because it just makes it worse, right? And anyway, I was guilty of the exact same thing. So this led to a period, and this was by far the hardest period of time in my life. No joke, guys. I mean, seriously, if you knew. It was, I mean, I've never had anxiety in my life, but it started. I got these panic attacks. It was brutal. It was crazy. I couldn't believe it. But anyway, I mean, I had my ups and my downs, and like, I was making progress. It's not like, it's not like I was walking the ledge or anything. But it was, it was difficult. Anyway, you get my point. But then I ended up, 2011 was actually a fairly good year for me, especially at the end of the year. I kind of made a bunch of money all at once, so I got a chance to pay my debts off, and that was a massive relief for me. And there again, I thought, that's it. I've turned the corner. I am out of the dark. I'm going to be fine, right? And then things got bad again. So, we still together on this? All right. Don't leave me hanging on this. I'm not going to be on my own here. Right? I mean, by rule, I think you guys are basically 400 of my closest friends at this point. So let's just keep that mojo, right? Just give me some emotional support. But this is where I was just going to give up. And I was going to leave the dream behind and become a financial advisor. Yeah. So, now, I have nothing against financial advisors, okay? But that wasn't my dream. Guys, this is my dream. This right here, this is my dream. Do you understand? I wanted to do this since I was 12, right? So, it's true. So, like half the audience claps. That's it, I'm a financial advisor. That's it. But I was going to become a financial advisor. Anyway, there's a great saying about entrepreneurship. It goes like this. It's kind of like wrestling with a gorilla. You don't quit when you're tired. You quit when the gorilla's tired. And so that's what I did. I mean, I kept on fighting because you don't know how long it's going to last, right? You don't know how long it's going to take, right? You guys are self-employed. I'm not the only one. So I kept on fighting. And then just kind of at the nick of time, right at the end there, I finally got some traction, which was unbelievable. And I'll tell you a little bit about that in just a little bit. But just looking back on this, this was my dark cave, okay, right here. That was my dark cave. And this was my period of calibration, right, which is basically code for like flailing around desperately, trying whatever you can think of to try and get your business to take off, right? Doing everything. I mean, I tried everything. Unbelievable. Trying to find a combination of activities that would lead to success. Isn't that what we're looking for? Right? If you do a little bit of this and a little bit, people are looking for a silver bullet. It ain't out there. But if you do a combination, what's that combination? What are the things that I can do that's actually going to give me some traction? I tried everything. But then eventually it turned around. And I ended up, just the last little bit. Guys, this just happened recently. And I'll tell you about it. It was crazy. But I learned something through this process, and this is the important part. I learned that the road to being is through doing. The road to being, no joke, guys. If you want to be happy, you need to do happy. You want to be healthy, you need to do healthy. If you want to be successful, you got to do successful. You got to find people who are doing successfully, who are doing well, and find a way to do what they're doing in your life. Maybe not on as big of a scale. Maybe it's a smaller scale, right? Maybe you're a smaller business, whatever. But you got to find a way to do those things. Even if you don't think you're ready, you got to find a way to do them and do them now. Because the road to being that person is by doing those things. So just take a second and think about your industry, whatever business you're in. Just think about all the other people who are doing basically the same thing as you. And there's probably a lot of them. There's a lot that do what I do. And now think about those rock stars, right? The ones who are just killing it. Right? I mean, seriously, no joke. Just take a second. Think about who are those people in your life? Or maybe they're businesses, right? It could be a business. But who is that in your business, right? In your industry? And what are they doing, right? What are those companies? What are those people? What are they doing as part of their business that makes them so successful? How can you do the same thing? So for me, I was looking at successful speakers. That's what I wanted to do, right? And so I really found, you don't have to do everything. You have to find something that's congruent with your personality or your strengths or whatever. I mean, everyone's going to do a different combination for themselves. But I found basically two things that successful speakers were doing that I thought I could do myself. And the first one was going international. Now, I got to tell you, because this was crazy, and I got to tell you this story, because this started for me in September 2007, and that was, I mean, no joke. I mean, that was a difficult time. That was right at the beginning. Like, I've published 3 books, but the first one didn't come out until 2008. So 2007, I mean, that was, I wasn't, I was struggling. So anyway, and I remember it was a Thursday evening, and I was literally sitting at my desk drinking a beer, and I was in front of, this is a true story, guys, and I had my computer in front of me, and I was brainstorming. I was like, what can I do to get my business going, right? And I thought, I should speak at a conference. And I know it sounds obvious, right? But at the time, I'd never done it before. So I was like, it's a new idea to me. So I went to Google and I searched for the phrase Internet Marketing Conference because I was kind of focused on internet marketing at the time. That was a more popular phrase back then than it is today. But anyway, it turns out there actually is an Internet Marketing Conference, right? So that came right up. And I went to the website. This was the website. But at the time, this conference was taking place in Stockholm, Sweden. And I was like, oh boy. It's not really what I had in mind. But they had a little tab that said speaker, and I clicked on it, and then there was a description, there was a link there that said submit a proposal. And so all of a sudden, now I'm looking at this online form. And I was like, holy smokes, I mean, should I fill this out? And so, guys, I'm just playing it out for you, okay? But I came up with a great title that day, and the title of your program as a speaker, as it turns out, is quite important. And I came up with a great, no joke, it was a great title. I came up with, I don't know if you can read this, but it was I proposed a session called Monetizing Trust, Leading Your Audience from Rapport to Revenue. That was a kick-ass title. And I'm sure the beer, probably had something to do with it. So anyway, I clicked submit. I didn't expect, guys, I mean, I was like nobody, right? I mean, I hadn't published any books or anything. I was basically new at speaking. I'd never spoken at a conference, so I was totally a newbie, okay? So I submitted, I didn't expect to hear anything, and sure enough, like on the Friday, this was a Thursday, so Friday I didn't hear anything. There was nothing on Saturday, nothing on Sunday. I woke up on Monday morning. Seriously, guys, you have no idea. And there was an email that had come in at 2 o'clock in the morning, which is like the middle of the day in Stockholm, right? Saying, we're interested in your proposal. And I was like, oh my God, right? So, but the emails started going back and forth, and sure enough, a couple months later, I went to Stockholm and spoke in this conference. And it was unbelievable, seriously. But here's the important part, guys, and you have to think about your own business when I'm saying this, okay? When I got there, they told me that the reason listen to this, the reason they picked me was because I was an American from Silicon Valley. Are you kidding? Right? There's 7 million people who are in that category. It's nothing special here, but in Sweden, that's something special. Can you believe it? Think about your assets, right? This is an asset I never even knew I had. I mean, I'm not kidding. I never knew that was an asset. In Sweden, it's an asset. You know what else they told me? They told me that I was the only American who submitted a proposal. Really? So by going to the other side of the world, I eliminated my competition. Right? Like there was no competition. Because, see, here's the thing, guys, and this is a critical point for, I'm telling you, this is the center of my life right now. When you think bigger, and I'm not talking a little bit bigger, I'm talking like way bigger, you eliminate your competition. Because everyone else is too busy chasing realistic goals. Screw realistic goals. I'm not saying it's going to work every time, right? But why chase the same goal that everyone else has, which is just a little bit bigger than this year? Screw that. I'll shoot for the big one because I had very little competition. And that, see, I mean, seriously, I got credibility in Sweden because I was an American from Silicon Valley. And then when I came home, I got credibility at home because I spoke in Sweden. So, like, I was sold, right? And I started sending marketing literally all over the world with these cheesy envelopes with my mug all over the front. I wouldn't show this envelope to my friends, aside from you. And I sent this stuff all over the world, okay? And what ended up happening, see, this whole started right at the beginning of my process. It was right at the very beginning, right? But I swear to God, this one thing was the reason that I could hang on long enough to find that combination of things that would make the career sustainable in the end. And I'll tell you about that in a second. But this one trick, this one hack, what's your hack, right? Your life hack. This was my hack. I found a way, I put all my energy into getting these crazy international gigs because it was building my credibility here at home. The hardest place to get paid to speak is in your own backyard. Go to Dubai, all of a sudden, you're someone special. Are you kidding? It's true. Try it. It's a true story. All right, the second one. So the point is, guys, think bigger. It's not just like an empty phrase. I really believe this. This is the story of my life, right? Think bigger. Think bigger about your goals, like way bigger, 10 times bigger than what you are. I'm not saying it's going to work, but you may as well give it a try because you might be surprised. You might be surprised. There might be no one else around and you're all on your own doing it. It's a lot of fun. All right, number 2, I did video, right? I set up a green screen studio in my second bedroom. It cost me less than $500, actually less than $400, including the camera. And I started doing videos. When did I start doing these videos? Last March. Not even 1 year ago. 10 months ago. 10 months ago. I started this video blog called Strategic Business Insights. And I didn't make like 1 or 2 videos. I made like a ton of them. right? I made a different video every week, okay? And I put them up on my website, one every week. Guys, this is not even 1 year old yet, okay? It doubled my revenue instantly. Seriously. Guys, do video. No joke. Do video. It doubled my income, and it was instant, and I'll prove it to you. This happened right at the end, right? Right there. And I don't know if can you see that red dot? Yeah. So people book 4 or 5 months in advance when they're booking a speaker, right? So it took a little while for it to kick in, and then boom, the debt was gone. And the last few months since then, it's been, I can't even believe the difference. I mean, no joke, and I have a few friends here in this audience who've watched this unfold. No one was more surprised than me. Do video. It will change your business. The road to being is through doing. Right? Find things that you can do. Find things that you can do in your business, whatever it is. Right? Thinking bigger is a great way to start, but that doesn't identify what it is you're going to do. Right? But find something that you can incorporate into your business, something that the industry leaders are already doing in your industry. And find ways to do those things yourself. And secondly, do video. So one of the kind of the perfect poster child for this kind of thinking, which I'm sure will surprise nobody here, is Sir Richard Branson, right? So you started, Virgin Galactic, right? I mean, like how much bigger are you going to go than that, right? By the way, what's his competition? Not much. Not much, right? Look at Elon Musk, the guy who started Tesla. Any competition? Nope. No one thought to make a high-performance electric car. Then you started SpaceX. Any competition? Nope. Just one in Europe. Whatever. And what did he do recently? He proposed the Hyperloop. You guys remember this? That capsule, that whatever it's called, the thing that goes from San Francisco to LA in 35 minutes? Any competition there? Nope. Pretty interesting. Anyway, he does this kind of stuff too. But he's also famous for a quote. I love this quote, right? So he said, the fastest way to become a millionaire is to start out as a billionaire and then start an airline. Genius. Genius. Now, I mean, obviously this is a joke, but I love the quote because it relates to the way that I look at life, okay? And just hear me out on this, because I look at life I look at careers kind of like skyscrapers. Like, every career has its own skyscraper. So like politics, right? Politics is a skyscraper. And at the top of the skyscraper is the President of the United States, right? So that's the top of that industry. And then the real estate and insurance and financial advisors, right? All these things they're just skyscrapers in my mind. And people are always thinking, how do I get to the top? Right? What's the fastest way to get to the top of my industry? And most people climb the stairs. And it works. It works. It's hard work. It takes a long time. But it'll get there eventually. Think start in the mailroom and become CEO in 35 years. Right? That happens. Those stories are real. Right? There's a few of those out there. But some people want to take the elevators. Right? This is a faster way to the top. So go to Harvard and become CEO in 8 years. Faster way to the top. But the fastest way to get to the top floor of a skyscraper is to parachute down onto it from above. Guys, I believe this is possible today. No joke. This is my life, and you don't have to agree with me, but I believe I believe that if you just do the things that the leaders in your industry are doing and think bigger and take action, that you can literally come down onto your goals from above. I believe that's possible today. I believe that's possible. The road to being is through doing. Guys, are you kidding? Last year I spoke in Moscow, I spoke in Dubai and Bangkok. I'm going to New Zealand in 3 weeks. Guys, I have no credentials. I have no credentials. Guys, look, I work really hard, no joke. I mean, I read every book, I research this stuff like crazy. I want my programs to be good. I want to be the best at what I do one day. I really work hard at it. And there's the details, tiny little details to become a better speaker. I'm a student of that stuff. I'm passionate about it. But I don't have like some incredible, undeniable victory in my past that justifies my career as a speaker. I didn't land a plane on the Hudson River like Captain Sully Sullenberger. He's a speaker today. I didn't saw off my own arm because I got stuck under a rock while hiking in Arizona. That guy's a speaker. I don't have any of those things. You know what my claim to fame is? My claim to fame is that I have no claim to fame. And that, I'm getting hired for it. Because it's like the you can do it too message, right? So people are like, you know, so my lack of credentials has become my credential. Who knew? You can do a lot more than you think. You can do a lot more than you think. I was just stubborn. I mean, no joke. I was just really, really stubborn. And I didn't want to give up. I never did well with supervision, you know? I had jobs and stuff, but I hated it. It made my blood boil. I just never felt comfortable. I had good jobs. People gave me, like my bosses gave me a lot of leash. I could have some freedom and such, but I hated it. So I wanted to be self-employed, and I think many of you are like me. You know, that's what Brian says. He's like me. The guy's awesome. You should see the organization you put into this. Awesome. It's awesome. But anyway, you'd be surprised. If you just do these things, you might be surprised. Things that you think are completely improbable end up being a lot more possible than you might think. So, you know, my message for you is just to think way bigger, right? Think way bigger. What's the downside, right? You can go out there, you might surprise yourself, and it'll change your entire life. It changed mine completely. Guys, I really think it's awesome that you came to this event tonight, and I'm honored to be a part of it. So thank you for being here, and I'm passing it back to Brian. Thank you. Give it up for Patrick.